Yo, so I was watching, what's his name, Greg Doucette's video on this guy right here, and you know, I've seen this video we're about to watch. I've seen like, I think I've seen half of it, but as soon as it got to this part, I kind of just cut it out because I wanted to save it for a time like this. But let's just watch this video, man. This guy, let's just watch it.
Time to basically spend a second saying that I've come to the conclusion that after a lot of thought and after a lot of experience, that Greg Doucette was actually wrong. He made a video recently talking about something, or a mistake I might potentially be making, by adding a certain substance to my supplement protocols every single week for the final stage of the off season. Don't quote.
So the substance he's talking about is insulin. I don't know much about insulin. All I know is that it's very easy to overdose on insulin, and insulin is what diabetic people have to take in order to keep them alive, basically. Or at least it's used as medicine for them, right? But for someone who isn't diabetic, I mean, his main goal is to gain more muscle. Why? The thing about insulin, unlike other drugs or performance enhancing drugs, is that the risk is so high and the results are so low. For me, honestly, the risk isn't even worth it. So I don't know why this guy's even entertaining the idea of taking insulin, but that's just me.
Me, because I don't remember word for word, but I do remember the vibe that came from the video, and it was that adding insulin would be the most stupid thing I've ever done.
And are his expectations?
Yes. Think about it. It's not a smart idea. I could understand, like, testosterone boosters or stuff like that, like steroids or other PEDs, but insulin? Like, why? There's so many other things you can take besides insulin that will actually make a better difference versus, or a bigger difference. Like the results would actually be, I don't want to say worth it, but they would be a lot greater than what you get from insulin. I just don't get it.
Within reason. Well, I'm going to start by saying not even close. You want to hear that if you take insulin, you're going to get huge. That if you add in insulin, you're going to get jacked stronger than freaking last time. And let me point out, Brandon is being honest and just telling people what he is doing. Insulin is one of the most dangerous substances you could take in all of bodybuilding. You might gain a little bit of muscle, maybe, but you're not going to get absolutely massive jack taking insulin. It's not really.
You see? And so that's why I say the risk isn't worth it, because you're not going to get like super huge. And a lot of people hate Greg Doucette, but I think he's I think we need someone like him. I think the fitness community needs someone like him, because he's very blunt, and on top of that, he tells the truth and he's honest. Yeah, he's on PDs, but at least he's honest about it. He's not faking it. He's a grifter, right? He's still the grifter, but he's an honest grifter, and I can respect that.
Really fantastic for muscle growth. Fantastic for getting you fat, for causing health conditions, but not great at building muscle.
And that it doesn't work, and that it's not this magic thing that essentially is going to help you gain weight, get strong. I think I can quote him saying, like, it won't work. I'm not about to sit here and say that it is. I'm not about to sit here and say that it's magic or it's the secret. And I would definitely go as far to say as, if you are considering using this because of watching this video, I would say you're quite a stupid individual, and you should probably start watching my videos, because you might be influenced by something I do, and I don't want that to happen.
Okay, at least he's saying that. Okay, I can respect that.
have been introducing insulin now for the past 3 to 4 weeks. I've actually experienced no side effects whatsoever. It's actually crazy how little side effects I have felt, and I think that's specifically based on the type of insulin that I'm using. I would say it's the most safest, that not to say insulin's safe at all. This is the dark arts of bodybuilding. It is very, very dangerous if you overdose. It's very, very dangerous if you mess up. If you don't eat carbs, you can very easily go into a hypo, and hypos, if serious, can result in you passing out and essentially dying.
Yep. Not to mention, it's very easy to overdose on insulin. Very, very easy. Just overdose a little bit, and that could be the end. Is it really worth it?
From what I've experienced and what I've known, because now I've obviously introduced it into my system, I've spoken to a lot of people in the gym that actually use it.
Wouldn't all of us be using it?
And we've come to the conclusion that you'd have to be an idiot to die on this stuff, because you have to be either careless with your diet, you have to be careless about your body and your health. You're just not an intelligent individual if you aren't able to do basic math and basic macronutrient calculation.
What is the outplay? You play and it records.
So, I don't know if what he said is true, but it's like I said, it's very easy to overdose on insulin. So, it's something you really don't want to play around. It's something that I would advise go to a doctor for, which I'm sure I don't know if he's already taken it. I'm sure that's what he's doing, but my goodness. It's just, it's really not worth it. Like, he's got a great physique. Let me wait for
Records and choose exactly what you want it to record, whether it be kills,
into knowing how
he's got a great physique. Like, why would he want to? I'll wait.
how much carbohydrates you're meant to be having at your specific body mass with the goals in mind, all these sort of things, right? So there's a lot to think about, but if you care about this enough to take it to the extreme to do insulin, you should care enough to do the research and know exactly what you do need to eat and take, and just the way.
At least, yeah. So at least he's looking and he's researching and looking deeper into it. So I'll give him props for that. He's not going into it blindly. Like, he knows the risk.
You need to live. But the insulin I've been having is this. It's Lantus. It is slow releasing insulin. I essentially take 20 IUs every single morning, and that will slowly release throughout the day. The one right here, this is the dangerous one. This is Humalog. This is fast acting. You typically take it pre and post workout, or post workout, or even pre-workout, depending on what your coach wants you to do. But this one is a little bit more dangerous because you have to be a lot more accurate with your carb consumption around taking this, because it is so straight to the system, and the effects of you feeling a little bit lightheaded or anything will be so much faster felt with this. This is why we don't use this. We don't want to have all our eggs in one basket. We'd only utilize every single tool possible. Obviously, this is only 20 IU. You can bump it up quite substantially from that. Same with any of the substance that I've used. My test currently is on 450. I literally know people in the gym that I was just at in Canada where their blast of test is 1.5 grams. Absolutely crazy. Like, if you actually knew the doses that some of these bodybuilders actually take in grammage, like total grammage of their injectables, it was on 8 grams a week. Can you imagine that? EQ, Tren, everything, like it all totaled. Like, if you're injecting 8 grams, like morning, day and night. I know people that have like substantially more, like 6, 7, 8 gram like total for a week. I'm just over 1 gram right now. Like, I have not tapped into anything. Like, when people comment on the videos like, oh bro, your health, or you're gonna die, or all these things, I'm just like, you're commenting that just because you're just ill-informed. Like, you just don't know what people are doing, like especially these really big guys like that are open class bodybuilders that.
So he at least knows what he's doing, but there's still risk, man. And honestly, is that risk really worth it? Like, you're not really going to gain much. Like, it's not going to make much of an improvement. You already have a great physique. Why would you? I just don't get it. Because he's talking about going, he wants his pro card. I don't know if he's gotten it yet or not, but if you think about it, this guy's taking basically everything at this point, right? And now he's taking insulin. You're doing all this just to get your pro card. So what happens when you get your pro card? You've already taken every substance. How are you going to get better? You can't rely on, you know, on being natural, because you to get to where you are now, you obviously haven't been natural. You're only 20, like, how old is he? Like 24, 25? And he's not natural. He has a great physique, but he's not natural. And on top of that, he hasn't even gotten his pro card yet. So when he gets his pro card, he's a great amateur bodybuilder. But when he turns pro, he's gonna suck because he's already done everything to get his pro card. Now competing at a pro level, he's gonna suck because he's going up against guys who made it pro naturally and then started taking PEDs and stuff like that and got even better. So I'm just saying, when he turns pro, when he gets his pro card, he's in for a rude awakening.
Really take it to the extreme. Those are the people whose lifespan are like 50 to 60 years, and that's kind of it. I still would like to live a long life, and that's why I'll never ever push it that far. Not to say any of this is safe, it's still very dangerous. I'm not
Okay, so at least, like I said, he knows that it's dangerous, but he's not pushing, he's not abusing PEDs or any drugs like that. So at least, right? Because there are people who abuse it, and we've clearly seen, like Rich, that's the biggest one. The guy that recently died, Boston Lloyd, but he used his body as like a as a lab. Like he tested himself. He used his body as a lab rat. So, but he was aware of the risk as well. But it's unfortunate what happened. Same thing with Brandon Harding. He's aware of the risk, but there's just there's an arrogance coming from this guy. He doesn't really respond to criticism very well, and I'll talk about that.
I'm not even going to say I'm doing it in the safest way possible, because if that was the case, it'd be natural. And this isn't going to be a forever decision. I'm not going to be on steroids at 35 years old. I'll probably stop at 29, 30. So I've got about 5 years left.
Here's the thing. When you start to see gains in the gym, you get kind of addicted, right? You don't want to stop. How are you just gonna go from looking like this and then going to 30 years old and just stop everything that you're taking? Just get off of everything. Because if you get off of everything, right, stop taking PEDs or whatever it is that you're taking, you aren't gonna look like that. I promise you, you're not gonna look like that. You think about other bodybuilders, right? You think they ever stopped? No, they did not. It's just not gonna, like he says it right now. It's easy to say that when you're 24 or 25, however old he is. Once you get to 30, right? But when that time actually comes, I know for a fact he's not gonna want to stop. Because he's put so much work and dedication into bodybuilding. He's taken so many substances to get to where he's at now. So by the time he's 30, you really think he's gonna stop? That's only 5 years from where he is now. I'm just saying. It's a dangerous road, and this is the thing. This is how bodybuilders end up abusing drugs. They take all this stuff to go pro. Once they become pro, I don't know, maybe they up the doses, and that's where it leads into trouble. So I think when it comes to Greg Doucette critiquing him, he's just worried about his health. He's worried that he's going to go down that path of abusing PEDs, because Greg Doucette himself went down that path. So he's just giving him constructive criticism, but this guy is just too ignorant or too arrogant to take it. That's what I see. I'm almost 100% sure that that's why this guy dropped Greg Doucette as his personal trainer, because Greg Doucette was giving him the cold hard truth, but this guy couldn't take it. He couldn't handle to hear the truth. Greg Doucette was telling him things that he didn't want to hear. So that's what I'm assuming. That's why he dropped him as his coach. But what do I know?
Of my bodybuilding career, and I've only been competing for 5 years. So we're now at the position after this off season where things might really start to happen. Ever since introducing the insulin into my system, in the past 4 weeks, I very quickly went from an average weight in the morning of 242 pound in the morning to 250, 251. So I've gained about, in total, I'm holding about 8 pound extra of weight. Obviously, no, it's not gonna be muscle mass.
8 pounds, that is it. You are risking your life for 8 pounds. Let's say it was all muscle. 8 pounds? 8? Come on, man. You're crazy, man.
But I've definitely maintained the same body composition, so all of that mass is literally inside my muscles, hydrating my muscles, enabling me to push harder in the gym, and every single lift has gone through the roof. I'm pretty sure Greg said something about it won't make you stronger, it won't like do this like crazy things, and I'm like literally inclined dumbbell pressed, I think it was like 70 kilos or 69 kilograms for 8 reps, when before I was doing like 55 kilograms or 60 kilograms for 8 reps. So 20 kilograms total on my incline press, what took like 2 weeks. So it's pretty crazy, and I'm sorry that this might be selling it to you. It's not my intention. I'm literally just talking about my experience, and this is what has.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, maybe it is working for you. Let's say it is, but there's other millions of other. How many subscribers this guy had? He's got 681,000 subscribers. That's how many people are watching you, and you're telling them that, yeah, I did this and I got stronger and I got bigger. I'm heavier now. Or I weigh more now. Yeah, you're telling people that to not do this, but other people are gonna see just like, yeah, maybe I'll react the same way, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And then, before you know it, you have people dying of an insulin overdose. I'm just saying, man. You know, I'm just saying, man. You know.
Happened to me. I wasn't expecting it to be this crazy, but it definitely has been. All in all, yes, Greg is right 99.999% of the time, but you know, I'm not even going to say he's wrong. Some people some people this might not have worked for. He might have not had good experience himself with it in the past.
Have I used it in the past? Yeah, I experimented. I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm not using insulin. Maybe that's why I'm not getting huge like Big Ramy. Tried insulin, and no, it's not that.
Just so you know, my experience has been quite pleasant so far. I haven't experienced any negative side effects. I know a lot of people were messaging me. They're actually quite worried the fact that I could quite easily mess this up. I haven't experienced anything bad. This isn't something that I feel like has made me feel any sort of weird way. I did experience some like lower back pumps in the first week, obviously because it was rapid weight gain. I did gain the weight quite fast, but now I feel like my body's stabilized and I'm in a really good position. It is only like an 8-week blast. It's not something that's going to be prolonged or last a long time. We did want to use this for a short period of time, just the last push of the off season to, optimize it as much as possible, so when we come to diet again for this year's prep, we'll be a different animal and we'll be a completely different person. I actually look back at my old prep videos because I've got every single video, like I think it was like 50 episodes or 45 episodes or whatever else, and I look back at the beginning of prep and I'm like, wow, like I was actually pretty small, and then now literally starting prep what will be 16 pound heavier. It's going to be interesting, and hopefully we might get a pro card. If not, I'll go again next year. The stage is always going to be there. That's going to be it for this video. I really
see. Okay, so he hasn't gone pro. He looks the same, dude. He looks the same. He will go pro. I believe he will. He has a great physique, but he's doing all this just to. He's not even pro yet. He's not even competing in pro bodybuilding. So when he does compete, he's going up against other guys that have better genetics than him and are taking PEDs. He's going to be a bad pro bodybuilder because he's already taken everything, basically. This is he's one of those people that needs to learn the hard way. And it's sad to say, but he needs to learn the hard way. He needs to learn things himself. Hopefully he doesn't end up like Boston Lloyd. Rest in peace, Boston Lloyd. But we should, not we, because I'm not into bodybuilding, but the bodybuilders who are on PEDs, they should really use what happened to Boston Lloyd and use it as a lesson, you know. Yeah, Boston Lloyd was aware of the risk, but you know, he didn't care. You know, he knew what he was doing to his body. But at the same time, I think people like Brandon Harding should really use that as a wake-up call. But this guy, he's just very stubborn. He doesn't take criticism from people like Greg Doucette, who have been down that path, who have basically done everything. So he's just gonna have to learn on his own, man. It sucks. He's got a great physique already. I mean, like, what more do you need? You can go, I'm pretty sure you will get a pro card with the physique, with the way that you look now. Maybe a little bit leaner when he starts competing for the pro card, but right now he's in the off season, so it doesn't really matter. But man, I just don't. I mean, I really don't think it's worth it. He's already got a great physique. I think just training harder, doing what he's doing, I think it will definitely pay off. But oh well, he's gonna learn on his own, I guess. But that's all for this one. Just talking my talk on the internet.